What is up, guys? I hope you're all having a wonderful day today, because today we'll be taking a look at a YouTube video from the man, the myth, the legend, Crab Gamer. And I know people are gonna be like, come on, Penguin. Crab Gamer response videos are already milked to death on YouTube. You're beating a dead horse. That's where you're wrong, because we're not gonna be talking about that Crab Gamer, but Diet Coke Crab Gamer. Oh yeah, that's right, folks. Today we'll be taking a look at everyone's favorite Xbox turned PlayStation fanboy YouTube channel, MBG, or as I like to call him,
look at little
Crab Gamer
Junior. Gonna cry?
So Crab Gamer Jr. right here recently made a pretty cringeworthy video that I happened to come across called First PS5 versus PC Comparison revealed just how powerful and performant the PS5 really is. So basically the gist of it is, Digital Foundry made a comparison video that came out that compares the PS5 and the PC versions of Assassin's Creed Valhalla. And apparently the PS5 version looks and runs better than the PC version. So because that one game runs better on the PS5, this guy somehow thinks that the PS5 version is the most powerful console and that you should buy it over the PC and Xbox version. It's very stupid. But let's just see how little Crab Gamer Jr. here can back up this huge claim by getting into this masterpiece of a video.
Alright guys, in this video we are talking once again about PlayStation 5 performance, because today Digital Foundry released their first PS5 versus PC video.
Okay, I know it's kinda annoying for some people to respond every few seconds of a video, but seriously, 51 FPS in 1440p in a cutscene, you call that powerful? Like, this isn't even gameplay, this is a freaking cutscene, and the game is already dropping below 50 FPS. Like, I know I'm nitpicking here, and this may be the only few instances in the game where the frame rate drops that low, but it's hilarious how he starts off a video about the PS5 being really powerful, but only 8 seconds in, it's already dropping below 60 frames per second.
Where they are testing to see how well the PlayStation 5 holds up to a high-end PC. How does it stack up against other graphics cards? And it seems that the PS5 is punching well above its weight, or at the very least, it's performing extremely well when you keep the price point in mind. And that's a really important thing I need everybody to understand when we discuss this, is that what makes this so impressive is how much it would cost you to get a PS5 if you were able to get one. A lot of people are still struggling at the moment, and that struggle may continue into 2021. But either way, you're looking at a $399 price point. That's like the entry price point. Like, if you're just looking to spend the least amount of money on a PS5, you can wait and eventually get a digital model for $399. Again, I have to say wait, because we all know that it's nearly impossible to get your hands on one right now.
You're forgetting to include the fact that on top of the $399, you also have to pay extra $60 for PS Plus to play multiplayer. And also, since you're buying the diskless version of the console, so no used games. You have to use the PS Store, which doesn't discount games very often. So $60 for Assassin's Creed, and you can easily see yourself going over $500. So really, it's not that much cheaper than buying the disc version of the console.
But what's interesting about this is it's leaving a lot of people feeling kind of surprised, maybe even some feeling a little bit shocked. It's a far cry from what we heard, back in March, April, and May of this year, where the PS5 was apparently going to struggle and so on and so forth. We've talked about it ad nauseum at this point, but this is just another scenario where the PS5 is coming out on top. Not on top of PC per se, because we know that PC, if you want the absolute best experience, that's where you can get it, but you are certainly going to have to pay for that experience.
That is complete bullshit. You can easily build yourself a PC for $600 that will run games at 1440p above 60 FPS. It's not really that expensive, dude.
Me personally, I'm a big fan of console gaming, and it is crazy to see that apparently the PlayStation 5 is equivalent to essentially an RTX 2080 graphics card, which is, again, surprising a lot of people, because it just goes to show how performant this $500 or $400 console is.
Oh my god, a new console with more modern hardware running games better than the previous console with older hardware? I am shocked.
Now, when Digital Foundry did this breakdown, one of the interesting things they did bring up was that there were a few areas, surprisingly so, where the PS5 actually seemed to come out on top over PC, but they said it may be a bug there or just an oversight by Ubisoft. They really don't know, but it says here, so far so good. But this is where things get a little trickier. The clutter option usually or actually increases the density of foliage to the point where I found that PlayStation 5's presentation actually exceeds PC's very high maximum with even denser vegetation in my test scene. This is one of the very few settings on PC without an ultra high equivalent, so my guess is that it's a developer oversight. The setting has a very low impact on performance with just a 4% difference between very high and low, although they do look worlds apart, which is something we'll address later, the lack of scalability in the PC version of the game. So, which is something you wouldn't expect. You would not expect the PS5 version of a multi-platform title to actually offer higher settings in some areas than even the PC. That's kind of crazy when you think about it.
Not surprised at all, actually, considering it's coming from a Ubisoft game. That company can make a good PC port even if their lives depended on it. So the fact that they fucked up and forgot to include certain settings on the PC version of the game, not surprised a bit, considering Ubisoft has a long history with making crappy PC ports of their games.
But, you know, they are kind of looking at what the PS5 is offering and they're trying to gauge, like, where does this land? How does this stack up against other graphics cards? It says choosing a particular stress point on PlayStation 5, which drops beneath 60 FPS and hits the minimum 1440p resolution. I could run the PC version fixed at 1440p with a close to equivalent settings as possible. And here's where we see the NVIDIA versus AMD divide in action. First of all, RTX 2080 Super is 20% slower than PlayStation 5, dropping to 10% with an RTX 2070 Super. Based on tests with a 2080 Ti, it looks like a 2080 Super or RTX 3060 Ti would be required to match or exceed PlayStation 5's output. However, based on my tests with a Navi-based RX 5700, I'd expect a 5700 XT to get within striking distance of the console's throughput. This assumes a very high Cloud's preset. Performance does improve if you drop down to high.
This has to be one of the worst games you could use in this type of comparison, considering Ubisoft is completely terrible in optimizing their games for PC. Assassin's Creed games in particular struggle to maintain 60 FPS even on high-end GPUs. Assassin's Creed Valhalla is not a good game to judge PC performance.
And so, as you can see here, this is showing just how performant the PS5 actually is.
Dude, just stop. It's laughable that you're using this to say the PS5 is somehow better, man. And actually, it's just that the PC port of the game is not very good. Even Digital Foundry is saying in the video that you're showing that Valhalla's PC port isn't very good and that it's missing a lot of graphical features due to developers forgetting to add them in. But you're clearly brushing that aside in order to make the PS5 look better than it actually is.
The PlayStation 5 is no joke. It's an absolute beast.
You serious?
PS5, a beast. Really, dude, really. I mean, sure, it has decent hardware this time around, unlike the crappy PS4, but calling it a beast because it's running one Assassin's Creed game well is a huge stretch. You're only showing one game in which the PS5 version looks and runs well, and using that as a crutch to say the PS5 version has better graphics and performance across the board. This is very disingenuous.
If you go over to the comment section on Digital Foundry's video, you will find people leaving tons of comments basically praising the PS5, talking about how they are really surprised or excited to see just how well the PS5 holds up against PC. One of the most upvoted comments, it's a very simple one, but it's an individual saying the PS5 is surprisingly very well performing. Now, again, surprising is the word of the day here. Depending on who you talk to, there are some people who are actually not surprised by this at all. In fact, I've seen a few people in my comment sections. There are other YouTubers, just tech guys that kind of know their stuff really well. And ever since they heard Mark Cerny's deep dive, they were telling you, and they were trying to tell you that, look, this console is more than meets the eye, at least when it comes to the spec sheets. And people are going to be very surprised at what they end up seeing, the performance results they end up seeing. It's not just about the T-flops, it's more than that.
Again with the T-flops. You console fanboys always throw around that word without knowing what it even means, don't you? I'm sorry, but if you ever thought fucking T-flops was a way to measure how powerful a console is, then you clearly have no idea how hardware works, and we shouldn't even be having this discussion in the first place.
And so, looking at some of the other comments here, we have another individual saying for the price, the PS5 is a beast. Again, you can get access to this console that is basically doing the equivalent of an RTX 2080 and running at high settings at 60 FPS, maintaining that stable 60 FPS for $400. I've always said that the digital edition of the PS5 is easily, hands down, without a question, the absolute best deal you can get when it comes to entry into next gen.
Again, that's only the surface price. You're completely forgetting that you also have to pay for the multiplayer. Another thing I forgot to mention, PS5 games are going to cost $70 now too. Yeah, that's right. Not only you have to pay for PS Plus, on top of the $400 you have to pay for the console, but each new game you're going to buy is going to cost $70 now too. Now does that sound like a good value proposition to you? Yeah, no.
The Xbox Series S simply does not hold a candle, and if the only thing you have to forfeit is the Blu-ray disc drive. Now, for some people, that is a make or break situation. The same can be said for the Series S as well. But if you're somebody who doesn't care about that, then you are getting, honestly, an insane bang for your buck here. I remember a long time ago, I made a video about the PlayStation 5, calling it basically a 4K 60 FPS beast, right? A $400 4K 60 FPS beast. And I remember that when I made that video, people got all over me, man. They thought I was insane. They're like, there's no way you're going to be able to pay $400 for a console that's going to do, across the board 4K 60 and even offer ray tracing in some games. And here we are. It turns out that I was correct.
Now you're just twisting the truth. You're making it sound like the PS5 is running games at native 4K 60 FPS, which is straight up wrong. At best, any current PS5 game, you have two options. Either run the game in quality mode, which runs at native 4K 30 FPS with better graphics and ray tracing, and a performance mode, which runs at dynamic 4K 60 FPS. That's it. You're not going to get both native 4K and 60 FPS in any game, at least not currently, unless it's an indie game or something.
And I'm not trying to, rub it in or anything or toot my own horn. It's not about that. I'm just saying that was the general idea I got from Sony, right? That's what they, in my opinion, were clearly trying to convey. And so we just have another situation here where I hate to have to put it this way, but the PS5 is just coming out on top, man. And one of the main reasons it's coming out on top is because of Sony's very smart decision to not constantly talk about power and performance.
Okay, you know what? I'm done with this video. You're clearly overblowing the capabilities of the PS5. Yes, the PS5 is impressive in a lot of ways, but you're over-exaggerating a lot of stuff about the console, like acting like it's some kind of $400 4K 60 FPS powerhouse without taking all other stuff you have to pay for into account. Because if you do that, it would destroy your whole video's narrative. But hey, who cares about being truthful, right? Because your audience that flocks to your channel looking for confirmation bias about their favorite console than actual facts will eat it right up. But anyways, guys, if you enjoyed this video, feel free to give it a thumbs up and also subscribe to my channel and hit the bell icon to get notified of my videos as I go live. I also have a Twitter and Instagram, by the way, links to which are in the description below, so feel free to give me a follow on there too. And if you have any video requests, feel free to DM me on Twitter. I'm very active on there and will gladly accept any requests. So I think I'll be seeing you guys in the next video. Adios.